Ursula is sick to death of mermaids. Ready to carve out a name for herself, she uses an ancient spell to become human for the first time. As the vivacious Vanessa, she ventures onto land and discovers an incredibly powerful curse has hexed an entire village. Determined to find the source of this dark magic and possess it, she gains the trust of the charming boy who unwittingly casts the spell. Together, they must confront the evil creature who created it, but the villain isn't always clear. As Vanessa struggles with the new feelings of her warm-blooded human heart, she must decide what is more potent, ultimate power or true love. I mean, this is Disney, and I was kind of tugging at my collar going, whew, okay. Hello fellow YouTubers, I'm Cassandra Joy and welcome to my channel. Starting off the vlog in the car today because I'm on my way to a coffee shop I don't visit often called Pettibone Coffee. Super cute interior, lots of seating, delicious coffee, which is by far the most important thing. I'm meeting some friends there to have a nice little caffeinated chat, but I'm gonna be arriving there a little early on purpose. I know, who am I? And the reason is I wanted to squeeze in some time to start reading this. Welcome to another episode of I Read This Book So You Don't Have To. I'll tell you more about the book in a second. First, I desperately need to get some gas in this car or I'm not going to be going very far. So let me do that and then I'll fill you in. Alright, got gas? Now I can talk to you about the book that I'm reading. It's called Vanessa by Lorie Langdon, who is a lovely author friend of mine, super talented, written some really cool books. This is the first in her series through Disney Publishings. I know, how cool. Called the Never After series. Each one features an evil villain we all know and loathe, and basically tells you the story of who they were before they became who we know them to be. This book is obviously about our favorite evil villain from The Little Mermaid, Ursula, also known as Vanessa. It's a love story that is guaranteed in the title to have a sad ending. And for Lorie, I know this had to be a struggle because she is very much like me. She loves a good happy ending. She loves everything tied in a beautiful, satisfactory bow. This series is not that. So the plan is to get to the coffee shop early, read a few chapters of this, and update you on how I'm finding it. Hey loves, I'm back home after hanging out with my friends. I want to first explain what this series is and how it works. I basically created this series to keep myself accountable, to read my TBR list, and also share what I'm reading with all of you. This is a vlog style read along with me. So I take you along on the journey of reading my book of choice, giving you pieces of the plot so you understand what's going on without giving away too much or ruining the experience if you would want to pick this book up for yourself. I give you a play-by-play of my reactions, my thoughts as I'm reading, and even though the title says I read this book so you don't have to, it doesn't mean you don't have to. I felt like that was obvious, but maybe it's not, and I just wanted to clarify. I'm not going to be giving away enough of the book to make it a waste of your time to pick it up and read it yourself. This is just a way for me to catch up on my TBR list and hopefully pass on some good titles for you to add to your TBR list. Sometimes the books I choose are wins, sometimes they're flops, but I take you through the entire experience. And concerning any book by Lorie Langdon, having read some of her previous books, I can safely tell you that you're gonna want to read this and I'm gonna love it. I can't say that about every book I picked. In fact, if you want to see the very first book I picked to start off this series, spoiler alert, it's very amusing, I will put the thumbnail right here so you can check that out for yourself and experience secondhand embarrassment as I read a book that had all the makings of a great novel and just flopped. By the way, for anybody who's stumbled on my channel and has no idea why my background is in such disarray, it's not normally like this. I've just finished completing a reno. All the furniture's in the places they should be, but everything is everywhere and nothing is where it goes. So until I get to all of that, we get a lovely, chaotic background for the time being. Sorry. Let me read you the back of the book. Ursula is sick to death of mermaids. Ready to carve out a name for herself, she uses an ancient spell to become human for the first time. As the vivacious Vanessa, she ventures onto land and discovers an incredibly powerful curse has hexed an entire village. Determined to find the source of this dark magic and possess it, she gains the trust of the charming boy who unwittingly casts the spell. Together, they must confront the evil creature who created it, but the villain isn't always clear. As Vanessa struggles with the new feelings of her warm-blooded human heart, she must decide what is more potent, ultimate power or true love. For anybody who doesn't know, The Little Mermaid was my favorite Disney movie growing up. Ariel is still to this day my favorite Disney princess. If you couldn't tell by the fact that my life goal is to have her hair goals. All I know of Vanessa is from what I've gleaned from the movie. Getting to have a sneak peek into who she was before she became Ariel's Ursula sounds really fun. The prologue starts off with her perspective right off the bat. She immediately gives off the impression that she has something to prove. Already she seems to be a bit of an outcast in Atlantica. At the very least, she's not well liked. Prologue is very short, just a quick introduction to Vanessa and her mindset. We don't get a lot of backstory. We don't know why she's an outcast other than the fact that she holds magic. And then chapter 1 immediately jumps into an altering perspective of the main male character, Andre. Andre is what I would consider a traveling salesman, but in the sweetest way. He has a wagon full of remedies to help the ailing and the sick. All he wants to do is spread a little kindness and help other people feel better. But the person he would most like to help feel better is his little sister Sarah, who suffers from a mysterious ailment that they can't seem to find a cure for. As he's packing up his wagon at the end of the day, ready to go home, an elderly lady by the name of Mrs. Naside approaches him with a story about the Grimaldi treasure and a request that he find it. He thinks she's just a batty old lady who believes in magic that doesn't exist. But between her powers of persuasion and Andre's desperation to find anything that'll help heal his sister, he decides, what could it hurt? After a few bruises and scrapes and a very harrowing hike, he does in fact find what he assumes to be the Grimaldi treasure. Andre can barely believe it. This is a box of miracles that he's basically been handed. And bless his wholesome little heart, the first thing he decides to do is 1, give his sister some of it to help her, and 2, incorporate drops of each potion into some of his remedies to help the neighboring townsfolk. If only it could be that easy. Something goes wrong. I'm not sure what, but it seems like the magic isn't all it's cracked up to be. Either it's a total lie, or there's an outlying force wrecking Andre's good intentions. We're not quite sure. But instead of healing everybody and making them better, it starts to make them worse. Even poor Sarah's ailment starts to rapidly get worse, which of course scares Andre to death. He doesn't know what's going on. And just when chaos seems like it's about to erupt, Vanessa lands on the scene. A two-legged human Vanessa washes up on shore, and since she's never had legs before, can't quite figure out how to walk. Through the course of the story, she finds herself rescued by Andre and Sarah and taken back to their house. No surprise here, but Andre finds Vanessa to be very beautiful, and Vanessa isn't quite sure what she's feeling for Andre. She's never quite had these sort of human feelings before. I'm now in chapter 8, about to start that. I will keep you posted on how things progress. It's a little while later. I'm armed with some honey incense tea. It's the decaf flavor, Vanilla Camorra, which tastes so good. I cannot explain why, but there is nothing that quite pairs with a good book reading than tea. Even coffee doesn't top it, and that's saying something coming from me. Once again, I decided to try to match the vibe of the book with my mug of choice. So I decided to go with this Whitney Kearney thrifted mug. I got it from Goodwill for just a couple bucks, and I just loved the neutral colors. And something about the elegant swirls made me think of the beach, made me think of sand, the gentle waves of the ocean. I don't know, it just felt like the right mug. And I'm absolutely making this a theme for every single episode of I Read It So You Don't Have To. If there's a book involved, the mug needs to match. Speaking of the book, I'm halfway through chapter 9 and things are starting to pick up. So far we've been immersed in the setting. We've been given a taste of some of the historical background. We are introduced to this slightly sleepy seaside town. We've been given a pretty good peek into Andre, his motivations, his thought processes, his world, and now finally we're starting to get a little bit more of Vanessa's perspective. I knew I would like Andre right off the bat simply because of how he was immediately presented to be this wholehearted, kind individual. One of my predictions for him is either he will be so good that he and Vanessa will just not mesh, or he will be corrupted by Vanessa and come to the dark side. I'm not sure which. There's definitely an attraction between Vanessa and Andre. It's something they're both privately acknowledging, but not something either one are admitting out loud, which is all sorts of amusing for me. When Vanessa was discovered by Andre and his sister Sarah, instead of bothering to come up with a backstory, she feigned memory loss, claiming she couldn't remember a thing from her past. She obviously doesn't have amnesia and starts accidentally offering up information that a human wouldn't necessarily know. One of the things she accidentally lets slip is knowledge of Omis Island, an island that nobody goes near and according to lore harbors ancient magic. From Andre's perspective, out of all the things she could remember, out of all the memories that could slowly be piecing their way back together, a memory about Omis Island is the one that surfaced first. A little suspicious, which means he's not trusting her as much as Vanessa would like, because Vanessa needs his help. The only way she's gonna get to Omis Island on 2 human legs is to pair up with Andre and work together. He needs the town rescued from this magic debacle. She wants to find the source of this magic debacle to claim the power for herself. Even though they want 2 separate things, the path to get them is the same. Remember that little conch shell she wears around her neck in The Little Mermaid? Yeah, that's in the book too. That's prevalent, and we haven't seen what it does up until this point, and I am just about to find out, so I'm gonna keep reading. Morning, loves. It's the next day. It's Sunday today, and I had every intention of going to church, but as you can see, I'm in a cozy crew neck and not at church, but I have a very good reason. Can you see that white stuff outside? Yep, that's snow. I took one look outside and thought, nope, I'm not leaving the house. I'm gonna get myself some breakfast and read a little bit more of this.
Like it's something in the air at that time, don't know why. Always dream of you when spring comes. It's like the heat on my skin takes me back to the time met you on a Friday, halfway out at the door of the club, playing soul on the weekends, stayed in bed till Wednesday, fell in love with you right there and then. I was young, couldn't see that.
Okay, I just finished chapter 10 and people are getting very angry at Andre. I mean, understandably, they blame him for everything that's gone wrong, but he's just trying to find a cure. Andre is definitely the kind of character that I just want to hug. I didn't feel connected to him at first. When it jumped so quickly to his perspective at the beginning of the book, I wanted Vanessa's perspective. I mean, she's the villain. I wanted to see inside her head, but I think it was necessary to have so much of Andre's perspective because I don't think I'd feel as connected to him otherwise. Vanessa's interesting. I like seeing into her head because it gives you a fresh perspective on how she sees the world. If someone came to her asking for help by way of magic, she would have no qualms in helping them for a price. I don't know if any of you ever watched Once Upon a Time, that TV show. So good. But there's a quote that is repeatedly themed throughout each season, which is all magic comes with a price. And Vanessa definitely holds true to that opinion. But she doesn't see it as taking advantage of someone. She doesn't see it as a negative. She sees it as an even trade. I do something for you, you give something to me. And the very stark black and white way she presents that kind of thinking is very interesting to me. Something really sad just happened. I won't spoil it. I won't tell you what, but oh, my little heart is breaking. All right, that's it. Back to reading. Okay, chapter 12 is good. We get a huge demonstration of what Vanessa is capable of. For obvious reasons, I think Ursula's magic was subdued in the movie because it's for kids. You don't want to scare them too badly. This is some vindictive magic, and I can't even say I blame her for it. As someone who does not put up with bullies ever, it's just a threshold I don't have. I am very okay with people getting their comeuppance. I am fine with a hero sticking up for themselves and defending their honor or defending their friends. As I have said many times to the kids I watch, natural consequences. But Vanessa is definitely more heartless than I think a typical hero would be. But it works. She gets what she wants, which is passage to Omis Island. The air blasting because it's freezing. It decided to snow again to the point where I had to defrost my car. I'm very annoyed by this surprise winter weather. We've been so spoiled with spring days that it feels like a shock. It shouldn't be. It's Ohio. I'm feeling very pouty about it. Today is a work day. The only reason I would be up at the crack of dawn. Throughout the day, I'm going to be continuing my reading of Vanessa. I don't want to talk too long because I'll be late, so I'm going to head to work. Well, I just had a very sad realization. I left my coffee at the coffee shop. I'm so annoyed. I went to the restroom before I left, and out of everything that I remembered to take with me, my coffee was not one of them. I didn't drink much of it either. I always try to save it for lunchtime so I can really enjoy it, and yep, nope. I had a few sips, and now the trash is going to enjoy the rest of my coffee. It's fine. I probably have had my quota of coffee anyway. Anyway, let's talk about the book. I've just reached chapter 16. They've arrived at the island, and some cool things are happening. I don't want to share too much because I don't want to spoil it, but it's everything you would imagine a magic island to be. But I feel like these are getting really interesting now, so I'm going to keep reading while I wait to pick up the kiddos that I nanny, and I'll keep you updated. More chapters read. Got a lot of reading done today during breaks in work. I started at chapter 14, got all the way to chapter 21, and a lot happened. Andre and Vanessa make it to the island, and it's everything you would assume a magic island is. Without giving spoilers, some major action goes down. Not in the way they had hoped, but they come out of it with a new friend. Well, maybe a friend. We're not really sure of his trustworthiness or not. I really liked this clump of chapters because it not only gave a lot more insight into Vanessa's abilities with magic, but also set the scene for the history of this world. Greek gods and goddesses and all of the history surrounding them make an appearance in the book as well, which I was really surprised by. It kind of feels like a clashing of worlds, bringing something that's part of this world into something I've always categorized as fantastical and not real. And even though it messes with my brain a little bit, I think it was done really well. It was believable, it makes sense, and I feel very settled into this fantasy world now. We're also getting a lot more of Vanessa's inner struggle between being power hungry and wanting what she set out for, which is all the magic she can absorb, and trying to be more like Andre, who's kind and selfless and thinks of others before himself. She likes who she is when she's around him, likes what he sees in her when they're together. But power is so appealing and really, really hard for her to resist. I like that that's depicted, that inner struggle where she really has a duality within herself. It really makes the Ursula we know and loathe feel far more layered, far more tangible and real. I'm about this far in, so I've read all of this and I have all this to go. So a little more than halfway. Those chapters on the island are probably my favorite of the book so far. The slow burn between Andre and Vanessa seems to be heating up just a little bit. Part of me would love it to heat up a little faster just so that the payoff of the sad ending that we all know is coming would feel more gut-wrenching. So I'm kind of nervous how this is gonna go and if I'm gonna feel properly sad by the end. I want to feel properly sad. Isn't that a funny thing to say? Only readers, honestly. I saw a meme on Pinterest today basically describing the experience of reading a really touching book where you are yelling at the pages and you're throwing the book across the room only to snatch it back up and keep reading, and by the end of it you're in tears and just a blubbering mess, and then the next thing you do after placing it ceremoniously on your bookshelf is to call up a friend and say you need to read this book. That is the reaction I want to have by the end of this book. Rip me to shreds, leave me shattered. I want to feel devastated by the end. I want what I'm promised. So yeah, there's, oh, this is testing my math, over 200 pages, we'll say, left of the story. So a lot can happen. I'm totally invested and really want to keep reading. Hi, it's another day, another book update. I have officially gotten to the kissing scene. And I gotta say, Lorie writes some good kissing scenes, but I think this might be the most steamy of all kissing scenes I've ever seen her write. So I thought you might like me to read it to you. I won't read all of it because I don't want to spoil it, but I do think that it's worth sharing. Vanessa. Andre's voice was a rough whisper, one hand bracketing her waist and the other cupping her cheek, lifting her face. What do you want from me? She met his heated stare, her eyes blazing into his. I want you to kiss me like you mean it, Andre Barrows. Her body burned against his, all curves and softness. He cupped her neck as he deepened the kiss. She opened her mouth to him and he delved inside, tasting her spicy sweetness, like tea spiked with lemon. The world dissolved as he pushed his splayed hand up her back, the wet fabric like paper adhering to her steaming skin. His breathing went ragged as he pushed her back until she hit something solid. He leaned over her, bracing his hand on a rock, her body curving into his in a way that sent the earth spinning out. He kissed her like a drowning man as waves of heat washed over him. There's more, but I'm not gonna spoil it because it's too good. I mean, this is Disney and it's Lorie, and I was kind of like tugging at my collar going, whew, okay. But I love that. I'm the kind of writer who does not skimp on kisses, and kisses are as spicy as I let things go in my books. So I don't skimp on what I do write, and I love that Lorie didn't either. That was so good. I was waiting for that. I knew it was coming because it wouldn't be a book by Lorie Langdon if there wasn't a really good kissing scene. However, it was getting very scarily close to the end and it hadn't happened yet, so I was kind of like, come on, don't skip out on a kiss, please. I know it's a sad ending, but come on. I've got this much left of the book to go and things are ramping up. Everything's happening. They're down to 4 days. That's all they have left to reverse the curse, and there's only this much left of the book. Ooh. And the fact fact that I know it's a sad ending has me really stressed. I'm stressed. I definitely want to set some time out from today to finish this book and get back to you on my final thoughts. I actually sent Lorie a teasing message saying, I can send you the hospital bill for my broken heart, right? Because I know it's coming. I know it's coming. It's in the title. That was just the perfect heart squishy, squeal as you read, grin like an idiot all the way through kind of kiss. It felt like such a payoff after such a slow burn. I've got some tea here that I'm gonna sip while I finish this book. Don't be surprised if I show back up here in the next clip very unhappy with the ending. Wish me luck. Vanessa was just spotted using magic. That can't end well. Alright, I'm off the couch, curled up in a blanket, sitting up straight because I'm stressed. Vanessa just made possibly the worst decision she could have made. Instead of communicating with words and explaining to Andre what was going on, she just decided to use magic instead, and I am screaming at the book, silently screaming at the book, sparing your ears, but still. Oh, this is not gonna end well. They have 2 days until the curse is made permanent. Andre's little sister's in a bad way, and I'm worried. All right, that's it. Continuing to read now. Oh no. No. No! Chapter 29 ended in such a cliffhanger. Oh no. Oh, this is not good. Oh no. Oh no. There's still so much left. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Oh, the signs were all there. Okay. I keep wanting to tell myself there's hope, but the sad ending is in the title. It's guaranteed. I'm stressed. I am more stressed reading this book than I have been reading any other book in a long time. Thank God for little Sarah, because she's the only voice of reason in this entire thing. Vanessa's true identity was just revealed. I won't say how, but it was a big fat fail, because now Andre is furious that Vanessa didn't tell him. And I love Sarah's response. She was like, well, can you blame her? Look at how you're reacting. And I immediately said to the book, thank you, exactly. The whole book, all he has wanted was for her to be honest and for her to share. And then one time she decides, hey, I'm gonna be vulnerable here and share who I really am. He rejects it. He gets mad. You know, I'm not saying that tentacles and the fact that she's half octopus is not something hard to swallow. I just feel like the anger in proportion to the situation is completely blown out of proportion. I'm on chapter 31. I'm not reading. I'm just looking at how many chapters. 1, 2, 3, 4 more chapters. I'm not ready to be heartbroken. I'm not ready to be sad. Okay, well, let the soul shredding begin. Oh no, the book stopped referring to her as Vanessa. It's calling her Ursula. Oh. Really? No. Oh no. Vanessa. Oh. The last line. Happily ever after means giving someone the power to break your heart. That was the epilogue. There's a postscript. I'm desperate for any shred of happiness here, and I'm so scared. Some claimed that to glimpse the turn of a midnight tentacle brought blessings upon your house, and if you were fortunate, a single wish. What they never shared, those who took the sea witch up on her offer, was the price. I just finished and I am unwell. Okay, wait, I need to chat to you. Oh, the ending. The author Lorie tried to give us some crumbs of something salvageable, I think. Things kept mentioning a sacrifice, and I was so scared of what that sacrifice would be. I was not ready for the sacrifice I was envisioning. I don't want to give away the ending, but I think what I'm about to say isn't so much a spoiler, but something you kind of can predict from the very first chapter. The thing that made Ursula love Andre was being human, being Vanessa. We know based on the movie The Little Mermaid, she doesn't stay human. She goes back to being Ursula. And with that transformation, I won't say why the transformation happens or under what circumstance. I'll leave that for you to discover yourself. But that transformation from human Vanessa to sea witch Ursula basically eradicates any chance of her having the capacity to love. I mean, if you think about it, even Ariel, she doesn't love Prince Eric. She's infatuated by him. She's curious about him, but she doesn't love him until she becomes human. And I think the human aspect connected with the feeling of love is intrinsically entwined. This was brilliant. I'm really impressed. The Little Mermaid is my favorite Disney movie of all time. That story is so precious to me. I'm always a little protective of anybody changing the details or making the story different or affecting what I treasure in any way that I don't like. I was surprised at how much I loved the Greek mythology working its way into the story. At first I didn't. At first I was like, nah, this is too real life. Greek mythology is from this world, not Disney's Little Mermaid world. But Lorie made it work in such a clever way, and I ended up really liking how she did that. The characters were really fleshed out, even the side characters, which is very hard to do. Not a lot of people know this, but authors don't just have free reign on how long or short they make their book. Based on the genre of the book, there's a very rigid word count bracket. You can't really exceed it. You don't have much choice. That limitation causes authors to sacrifice a lot of detail, a lot of world building, a lot of fleshing out of characters. I should know, I'm struggling with that with my own unpublished work. Too many words, too many details. If you love a slow burn romance, this is it. They didn't kiss until about here. But I personally like slow burn. If it happens too quickly, it doesn't feel real. This felt like a realistic timeline. I loved the duality Vanessa was constantly struggling with in this book between wanting love and wanting power. She continually chooses to believe she can have all of this power that she craves and also have a true love story. But as the old adage goes, absolute power corrupts absolutely. I really liked that it wasn't a straightforward, I love power and that's why I'm evil. There's a lot of warring feelings, mistakes made, and learning from them during her time being Vanessa and being human. I really liked it. I don't like the sad ending, of course, because I'm a sucker for a happy ending. I want everyone to be happy. But it's right there in the title. You're forewarned right off the bat, but it is absolutely worth the read. Lorie knows how to write characters to root for. She knows how to make them interesting, to make you want to find out what happens next. I really don't have any negative thoughts to say. The only one I can think of is very nitpicky, and it's just a me thing. But when a world is set in a fantastical universe, I don't like modern day things bleeding into that universe. So there's an instance where the word darn is used and the word okay is used. Again, this is just a me thing. It bugs me when movies do it too. For me, I find that breaks the immersion. It makes me question, do I have the right time period in mind? Am I mistaken on what year it is? It kind of brings my head out of the story. That's truly the only nitpicky thing I have against this book. Very minor, very niche to just me. This was a harrowing story from beginning to end. It has characters you root for and was honestly just a pleasure to read. I've respected Lorie Langdon as a person and as an author for years, and it was so lovely to be able to dive into this series that she's written with Disney. I really loved having a fresh perspective on an evil villain I've always categorized as irredeemable. Seeing Vanessa before she became the Ursula we know, offering the reminder that villainy isn't linear. It's a very jagged graph. life. Obviously in real life this is true, but in books I think people forget that evil villains are not born evil. The journey to their dark selves doesn't happen overnight. I really liked this. Now for anybody wanting to read this, I have bad news and good news. The bad news is it's not released in the US yet, but the good news is I will be linking a website down below where you can order it for yourselves here in the US. If you like a light read with a harrowing adventure and a slow burn romance with a twist ending, I highly suggest you read Vanessa. I'm gonna have a book hangover for quite a while from this one. My heart's gonna need some time to recover. But that is why I read this book, so you don't have to, except you definitely need to. Go buy it right now. In the description box, there's a link. Just please, trust me, do it. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this read along. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any books you'd like me to read for future episodes, let me know in the comments down below. I'll screen them first because if they were anything like Hooked. I just realized I read Hooked for the first episode, which was a fairy tale retelling, and now I've read Vanessa for the second episode, which is also kind of a fairy tale retelling. If you guys have any more fairy tale retellings you think I should read, comment them below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you never miss a future video from me. I upload on Wednesdays and Saturdays, both at 6 a.m. and sometimes on Mondays. Among my usual vlog content, I'm doing this series where I read a book so you don't have to, and I also have a podcast series called Chats with Cass where I pick a topic and we chat about it. So if you haven't subscribed already, I think you're gonna want to. We have a lot of fun around here. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you Lorie for writing such a lovely book. For someone who also doesn't like unhappy endings, you wrote a good one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you guys. Mwah.